by myself. My fiance had to work today, so I'm trying this video myself. Like I said, I promised Halloween we would have a video every day, so some of these I might have to do by myself. But I'm not sure. I'll do at least one today. I might do another one for tomorrow to get ahead of the game. We shall see. Anyway, like and subscribe. I'm going to try not to just read from the script. Like, we tried to add to our videos, not just what's on the script. But I'm a very nervous person. She's not here. Or he's not here. Anyways, so today we are going to talk about... This is an interesting case because nobody actually completely knows who she was, but we'll get into what the story is behind her. Like I said, everything is going to be based on kind of scary, kind of like what I consider scary or aspects of Halloween. See here, Halloween's our favorite holiday, so. Alright, today I'm going to talk about Mummy Marie O'Day, I'm sorry. I don't know why I put, looks like a D there. Anyways, see here. The remarkable thing is the hair is still growing, claims the advertisement. Which, as we know, back in the day, they used to think that after somebody died, the hair kept growing. Even though now we know that it's just because the skin is shrinking and it just looks like everything is growing. But they're not. It's just kind of mummifying and shrinking together. Today we are going to talk about a famous sideshow mummy. There are many stories about her one that the sideshow has said to get people to see their show and what some people believe happened. Either way, her body is still being used as inhumane. And I think that unless the person has willingly given their body to science and to be used as a sideshow, they should be buried and everything else. Her sideshow name was Mary O'Day, the name given to the remains of an unknown young woman who was mummified after death using arsenic. She likely died of TB in the late 1800s or early 1900s. See, they don't even know how she died. Somehow she ended up in the hands of a carnival promoter. Like, you remember back in the day, you had the Ripley's Believe It or Not and the different, sideshows. Even now they have sideshows, but they're a little more strict on where they get their bodies and stuff. She toured the United States with many different fictitious explanations of her death. The mummy was exhibited by Charlie Campbell, Professor L. O. Hoot Black, and at least 2 other showmen over the years. O'Day toured 38 states and Canada. And I found out about her because on American Pickers on the History Channel, they actually found her mummy, stored away. And they're like, oh, that's Mary O'Day. That's what made me want to research her a little bit more. In 1955, the chief of police in Spring Hill, Louisiana, vouched for the authenticity of the mummy in a letter to fellow officer of the law. The doctors and nurses here all agree that the exhibit Mary O'Day was an actual body and was once alive. I don't see how there's no record of who she was. She must have been somebody very poor or something. Maybe she was part of the Potter's Field. You know, she was very poor. They couldn't find her family or something. I don't know. Admission in the early 1970s was 50 cents. So it's 50 cents to see this poor mummy. O'Day's body was said to be leather-like. You will see that the body is still pliable. You will note the beautiful red hair upon her head, which is still growing. Like I said, that's because she was leather-like. She was shriveling up. The well-preserved teeth. You will see her fingernails, toenails, even the corn upon her toe. because she's been pretty much preserved like an animal. Or a mummy, I guess. The exhibits offered an inspection to doctors, nurses, or undertakers who desire to convince themselves of the authenticity of the body. Boswell took ownership of O'Day had to abandon her palace car in the adjacent state. He also removed her from the traditional casket in which she had been exhibited, having found that it offended the public, particularly the recently bereaved. O'Day became part of his Palace of Wonders, billed as the world's largest and strangest tented museum. So, like, she was, I think they're talking about the palace car because, like, the person would go through and drive her around in, like, a palace car, like a car that was part of the exhibit. Let's see here. She took a celebrated place among the sideshow's shrunken heads, five-legged and two-headed animals, live snakes, and other exotic domestic wonders. In the late 1980s, Captain Boswell was contacted by a vice president of Ripley's Believe It or Not. Which I don't know if you guys knew, but a lot of the shrunken heads they have on like Ripley's and stuff are not real. Just so you guys know. And the mermaid's not real. In 1975, Black sold the mummy to Captain Harvey Lee Boswell. The story given by the sideshow Mary O'Day Palace Car in around the 30s begins with that she was a nightclub entertainer, was killed by her common-law husband who stabbed her in the back and cut her throat, for which he was sentenced to 99 years in the Utah State Penitentiary, of which nobody could find a record of. He threw her in a Utah's Great Salt Lake, where her body remained for 12 years. It had washed ashore, but remained covered with silt, and sand. When discovered in 1937, her body was said to be mummified, not petrified, due to the more than 20% salt chemical content preserved in the water of the lake. So they're pretty much saying, like, you know how they used to salt pork and stuff to preserve it, or jerky and stuff? They're saying that that's pretty much what the salt caused her to become in the lake. A stitch incision in her neck appears to be a stab wound, and the stab wound in her back is also still visible. Currently located in a warehouse for sale in North Carolina, and it is still for sale. She is still being bought and sold and just stored away in a warehouse where she should be buried. Another story found online was one that sounds the best, is that she was found dead sitting in the waiting room of the bus station in Mississippi. They don't even know what state she was living in when she died. There was no ID on her body or in her handbag, but she was well dressed and looked like class. So she looked like she was well to do. You would think she'd have had family. The Undertaker assumed that someone would show up to claim her body, and it would be only a matter of days until he would be rid of her. Well, the days turned into weeks, then months, then years, and still no one showed up. The poor Undertaker kept waiting and putting in more formaldehyde to preserve her and wondering what to do next. After so much time had passed, a traveling showman came by and offered him something for her. That's still very disrespectful. Like, there's Potter Fields and stuff, and things like that would have buried her. I mean, you can't imagine you'd be that hard up with money. It seemed like a good idea to sell and recover something, but better still to get rid of her and out of town and gone. Why are you so pressed on getting rid of this body when you could just respectfully give her a burial? Even in this early of times, like, it does not make any sense. Let's see here. It seemed to take a good idea. Okay. After all, the Undertaker didn't have a lot of options open to him, so he sold. Yes, you do. Because you have to have the state will pay or something, because you have to get rid of, even back then you had to get rid of a body properly. Like, it wasn't as if you could just toss it. Somehow, this traveling showman went to the Pan American Animal Exhibit and sold out for $200. $200. I have never seen a receipt, and the person says, I have never seen a receipt or any other written proof that this is what happened, but it's still uncommon when dealing in cash money not to put anything in writing. The last known owner of the mummy, Captain Harvey Lee Boswell, birth January 12, 1928, passed away January 22nd of 2002. He was 74. Which I'm not sure exactly who owns the mummy now. Maybe his family is the ones that have her in the warehouse where American Pickers found her. But American Pickers should really see about burying her or something, because this is just messed up. Anyways, it's kind of a dark and the short one. It's like the shortest one I think I have on this 30 days or 31 days of Scaroween. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy my videos. Like and subscribe, you know, the usual. What kind of stories do you guys want to hear next? What would you like me to do next? I know I'm hoping, I got a few jars. I'm hoping to do, to see what happens when you leave certain things in bleach and stuff. Hopefully a few more experiments, but right now, since Halloween season, we're definitely going to lean more towards Halloween related things. What do you think happened to her? Like, how do you think she ended up this way? Like, do you think she's just some homeless person that they found on the street and kept her? Do you think she's a murder victim? Do you think that people back then were so hard up on exhibits that they found a murder victim, or they murdered her? I mean, there's many aspects of the story that are missing, and I did a lot of research. A lot of my videos, I do a lot of research, like hours worth, to complete. That's why some of them are so long. I want to make sure every detail that I feel is important into a story is into the story, because I know, like, different highlights and stuff, you're gonna miss some really key important things. So I'm hoping that this will help, and I will put up, there is pictures of her as a mummy, so I will, like I said, I've been putting pictures up throughout videos. I hope you guys are enjoying that. I figured it would help visualize, other than me putting up a phone. It's hard to see those pictures as clearly sometimes. So I'm hoping that the new app is helping putting up pictures. So yeah, I think I will go ahead and do another one. So you'll probably see the next one will be by myself again. Like I said, Tommy's been he got a few jobs lined up, so making our life a little easier. I'm super excited. So yeah, on to the next stuff. Wait, that's Anthony's lane. So I will see you guys later.